Hi, welcome back to this Drafty House. My name is Lindsay and I am a yarn dyer located in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And I previously was using this space to share my business side of things, but also to just talk about being a creative person. And I have so many different hobbies. So I like to talk about what I'm making. It could be knitting, sewing, what I'm reading. It's winter here in Canada, so I'm not going to be talking about gardening, but as we get closer to spring, I'll probably start sharing my garden plans. And it's been 2.5 years since I last recorded a video, so I feel a little bit rusty, and I think I'm going to use this introduction video as an introduction back into this. So I'll start with what I'm wearing. This is my Aros sweater by PetiteKnit. I just knit it in one color as opposed to stripes. This is knit in a 100% Romney wool held double with mohair. I dyed this myself. It is one of my favorite sweaters. I wear this probably 3 times a week. I wear it a lot, but I love it. And it has held up really well. I mean, I probably need to come in and depil it a little bit, but I mean, it's not bad considering the amount of wear that it gets. What have I been up to the last 2.5 years? I've made some pretty big business changes. Previously, I started in 2020 by making the switch from superwash yarn to non-superwash yarn. And a year ago, I started introducing Canadian wool into my shop. The economy sucks. The Canadian dollar is absolute garbage. So I was stuck between a rock and a hard place. I really wanted to introduce Canadian wool to my customer base. I wanted to be able to support Canadian mills and work with Canadian sheep farmers, but because of the Canadian dollar, I was more or less forced to do it much sooner than I think I had really planned. I mean, it was a good push to do it, but I would say it's probably been the hardest year for my business, because not only did I have to make those changes, but I also enrolled in a course on natural dyeing and started learning all that I could about natural dyes. Previously, I was acid dyeing. And I think I spent all of last month, obviously, as we approach the new year, really thinking back on where my business has been, where I want my business to go. And, you know, it's hard with social media because you want to give the people what they want, but you want to stay true to what you want or what you love and believe in and feel passionate about. And I think being a creative person, like I've always been a creative person, art has always been my thing and what I feel most comfortable doing. So I feel like by the end of 2024, I kind of placed myself in a box, and I felt like I struggled because I felt like I was having an identity crisis, I guess is like the easiest way of putting it. I was well known for dyeing colors like this, and I love this. Like I love a pop of color, and I still do. But I love gardening, and I wanted to explore natural dyes, and I wanted to, you know, my whole thing has always been I want to be sustainable, or as sustainable as possible. And what I'm doing for 2025 is I am not placing myself in a box. I don't want to focus so much on what I am dyeing with. I want to just focus on dyeing yarn. I want to just focus on creating colors that I think are beautiful, are inspiring me. I don't think you're a bad dyer if you're an acid dyer or a natural dyer. I don't think that there should be such a divide between the two, and I'm sure multiple people will disagree with me on that, but I don't think it needs to define who I am as a dyer. And that's kind of where I was struggling at the end of last year. 2024 was probably the hardest year for my business. I think a lot of small businesses were feeling the same way. So my goal for 2025 is to just create. I want to just create, and I want it to be, whether it's acid dyes or natural dyes, I just want to create. Acid dyes are much easier for me to recreate recipes. I think natural dyes is just a beautiful art form and an amazing way for me to just create without feeling the limitations of having to create a recipe and then reproduce that color over and over and over again. I think that there are so many beautiful aspects of each method of dyeing. So my goal for 2025 is to embrace both of them, not let one or the other define who I am. And the other thing is to continue to expand on my Canadian wool. I started introducing Canadian wool in 2024, and it was definitely a hard sell at first for a lot of people. I was previously using Highland wool, which I was sourcing either from the US or overseas, but with the Canadian dollar, it was just not feasible anymore. So I think the Canadian wool is starting to gain traction, which makes me very excited because I personally really love it. I went from not really knitting the past 2 years to suddenly, I think in the last 2 or 3 months, I've started and finished 3 objects so far. And I already have so many plans to cast on new things for this year. So I guess all that to say, I go more in depth on this. I started a Patreon back up, and I'm going more in depth into the creative business side of things over there. But I did want to just put that out on here. That's my intentions for 2025. So you're going to see both acid dyes, you're going to see natural dyes. I'm going to not focus so much on which is which. I just want to create, and I want to create beautiful colors that I love, that I'm passionate about, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that after. But let's start with some finished objects, because I haven't had finished objects in a really long time. I have 2 of them with me, and they're both knit with the same wool, funny enough, same color. And like I said, I've knit 2 things already. This is the first one that I knit. This is my Sophie shawl. I had previously tried to knit a Sophie scarf and failed miserably. So like the little necktie one. But I think it's the yarn. I really truly believe that the yarn is what gets me through a project. So I knit this in, I think, 3 days. I have worn this heavily since I finished it. I used just a little less than 2 skeins, and this is the smallest size. I should also preface this with, I am the worst type of knitter because I do not gauge swatch. I don't do it, and you can't make me. So this is one of my FOs from the last little while, and I absolutely love it so much. I have plans to cast on another one, but I think I'm gonna try and make the hood now that she's released the hood, and I want to do it in stripes. And my battery is gonna die. Okay, I'm back. Clearly I haven't learned anything about charging batteries, but yes, I think I left off that this was my first completed project. I think I was talking about the wool. Comes from PEI, Prince Edward Island. It is a woolen spun yarn. It still has little hints of hay. I do wash the wool when it comes to me. I share it on my social media sometimes. It is disgusting. Like, it is so dirty, and I wash it, and it is quite the workout. I have to wash it in the bathtub, and then I get as much water out as possible. I load it into a huge tub, and then I carry that down 2 flights of stairs to the basement, where I then spin dry it and hang it to dry. I should know the yardage off the top of my head, but let's see. 2-ply. It's 113 grams per skein, 220 yards or 200 meters, and it's woolen spun. The mill themselves classify this yarn as a heavy DK light worsted. I have used this wool for DK projects and worsted weight projects, and it's come out beautiful every single time. So my newest FO took me 3 weeks to knit, which is incredible for me after not really knitting for like 2 years. And it's dry. It is the Seela sweater. I hope I'm saying that right. By, oh gosh, I should have looked this up before doing this. It's the Seela sweater by Jonna Helin. I hope I'm saying that right. Obsessed. This blocked out so nicely. I haven't tried it on yet. I put it on last night before blocking it. That's the other thing. It dried really fast. It's winter. I'm obsessed. I can't wait to try it on post blocking. I went for a slightly cropped fit, but I wanted it so that I could wear it with jeans or I could wear it with dresses. And yeah, it's got this beautiful raglan detailing. It's got a folded collar. It's really nice. I might put a tag in so I know what the back is. 10 out of 10. Love it. I think that the sleeves are perfect. They're gonna come like probably down to about here, which is really nice. I have very long arms. So yeah, that is my newest FO. Fresh off the needles. I started this on a whim. I was knitting a cardigan. It was striped and I loved the colors, but as I was knitting it, I was like, I realized something I'm trying to stay true to is knitting for me and what I want to wear versus knitting for what I think people want to see from my shop. I mean, I can use what I want to knit for me interchangeably with shop samples. But yeah, I realized that I wasn't going to wear the colors. It didn't fit into my wardrobe. So I'm really, really happy that I transitioned to this and now I have an amazing neutral sweater. I will probably make this pattern again and maybe I'll make it in a fun color or maybe I'll make it in a striped sweater. Who knows? But I knit that and I love it. And I would 1000% recommend this pattern. How many sizes does it come in? 10 different sizes. So that's pretty amazing. And it goes by really fast. The only modifications that I made is it called for a US 10 needle for the body. I used a US 9 because I didn't have a 10 available to me. I knit a size 2, I think. And the only other modification that I made is I didn't do the body decreases. It said to do body decreases. I didn't want the waist to come in. I just wanted a boxy fit so that, again, I could layer it with dresses. And my dresses are all very flowy. So I didn't want something that was going to constrict the shape, if that makes sense. That is my finished projects. I do technically have a whip on my needles right now. I can grab it. I started this before I started that, and I will get back to this. Just not right away, I don't think. This is the start of the Ian sweater by November Knits. I think I'm saying that right. EUN sweater. It is a cropped body, and then it's like a split hem, and it's very long ribbing. But it has this beautiful raglan detailing. So I will get back to this. I am knitting it with the same wool, but in dark gray. This is the natural color. You can see, like, I'm obsessed. I love it so much. So I do want to finish this winter. I think that's going to be like my work on it when I just need some basic stockinette stitches. I think I'm almost done the increases. I can't remember where I left off. But the next thing I want to cast on is actually a hat. I was knitting an Alaska hat, but I frogged it, and not because of the pattern, because somebody who purchased the same color that I was knitting my hat in needed more of that color, so I'm frogging my hat so that she can use the yarn to knit. And it's totally fine by me because I liked the color, but I think I want a bright poppy color for my hat. So I'm going to cast on with this, which is so unlike me. I'm not really a blue person, but I want a pop of color in the winter. Also, I think this combo would be so pretty. And my coat is an army green color. So, I mean, it's literally an army coat. So I'm really trying to embrace my style this year as well. I started, last year I did the 75 style challenge or whatever it is. For 75 days, you don't buy anything new. You just basically shop from your own wardrobe. But yeah, I want to knit myself a hat. I'm going to cast on with this, and I'm going to cast on my own pattern. It's not, I wouldn't say it's my own pattern. I put out a formula on my website November, maybe? Be October, I can't remember when I did it. Oh, November. And I called it My Fisherman Beanie Formula. It's more of just a formula. It's not a tested pattern. I never had anybody test it. It's not a paid for pattern. So I'm calling it a formula, and I don't have my hat anymore because my husband Nick took it off my hands. He loved it so much that he requested it. But it looks like this. It's that traditional fisherman beanie style. Really thick ribbing, which you can see. I like a thick ribbed hat. This is, I get asked about this hat all the time. This is a ready to wear hat that I purchased at Indigo last year. It was on sale for $10, and I just wanted an extra hat because the kids were always stealing my hats. So I did not make this. But yeah, I'm gonna cast on my fisherman beanie. It's a 2x2 rib. You knit a really long rib so that it's nice and thick and chunky and keeps your ears warm. And then the crown itself, you can make it baggy if you want to, or is it baggy? I think so. If you want to, you just knit the body of the hat longer, or if you don't want it baggy, you want it more fitted, you knit it shorter, and then you work your crown decreases. I'm very much in the mindset of making what you knit work for you and your body and what you like. So that's why it is a formula. You can go in and change whatever you want to change about it. You do you. I'm gonna do me. But yeah, I'm gonna cast on with this maybe today. I'm back because I realized I put my sweater on and thought I could show it. I'm really happy with it. I think if I was to knit it again, the only thing I would change is I probably wouldn't do this. There's like one round of sleeve decreases before you knit the ribbing. I think I would just keep it at whatever the final decrease is on the sleeve shaping, like these decreases. I don't mind the tight, but I think I would just prefer, personally, something not so constricting here. Otherwise, 10 out of 10 obsessed. What I did want to add in is I talked briefly about knitting another Sophie scarf or shawl. And I wanted to add that I was talking with my patrons over on Patreon, and I'm thinking that I'm going to host a knit along over there for any of the Sophie patterns. Sophie scarf, Sophie shawl, Sophie hood. And we're all just going to work on it together, help each other through. So that's going to be over there. I will be sharing my progress on my new one. I still have to pick colors for it, but I'm just going to be all tonal here. I'm going to be picking my colors hopefully this week. I'm going to be using this base again. And I feel like I'm so new to doing this again that I completely forgot to say that this color is Cobalt, which was just in my last update earlier this Monday. It was on Monday. It's this base, the light gray specifically. I don't think it's... the light gray specifically is what I dyed, and the colors came out so rich. But look at this. Ah, so good. So my initial plan, we're just gonna get into this again. This will be a little side thing. My initial plan was to knit the Sophie hood with red and pink. I just didn't know which pink I wanted to use. I liked this. But then because I want to knit my hat in this color, I didn't think that this flowed properly. So I might save the red and I might do this. But I also really love this combination. And I think that's really pretty. So I got to figure out my colors. The other thing that I could do, because the opposite of blue is orange, is I could dye up kind of this color. Oh, yeah, I think that just solidified it. And then knit my Sophie scarf in like this kind of combination, and then my hat is this, and I think that would be absolutely stunning. Yeah, okay, I just talked myself into it. Anyways, all that to say, a knit along is coming. I think I'm probably going to get all my ducks in a row this week and then begin it a week from now over on Patreon. And my Patreon is still a baby. Last month I posted 3 videos. Oh, it's snowing. Sorry. Posted 3 videos, 2 little mini vlogs-ish, and the rainbow trout video. But it is going to be a safe space for me to share the highs and lows of running a business. There's an amazing community chat going over there already where we're talking about what we're currently working on, what we're currently reading, dream makes, what we're watching, just like all those things that I tend to do myself, but sometimes you just want to be able to talk about it with somebody. It's $5 a month to join. You can come and go when you please, but it gives creative individuals like myself a bit more of a steady income, because running a small business is never fully guaranteed. So anyways, that spiel over. I just wanted to mention this, and I wanted to mention the Sophie knit along that I'm planning to host over there. Yeah, okay. Oh, and then I think I want to start my book club back up. But anyways, more on that later. You can weigh in the comments if you feel so strongly about it and want to let me know. Okay, bye. Okay, what I'm currently reading. I started last year off in a massive reading slump. And then around spring, I started finding my groove with reading again. And then by the end of the year, I kind of lost my reading mojo. So I just finished The Cat Who Saved Books, which is a Japanese fiction. It's translated, and it was just so beautiful and so magical. And I kind of have this thing where I am so enamored with Japanese folklore, and when you get into like, I don't know, even like they're not, I was talking about this at coffee this morning with a friend, but like even the natural dyeing that happens over in Japan and just everything is so magical to me. I started building up quite a collection of Japanese fiction books, and I've decided that I'm actually going to read them. And so I started The Days at the Morisaki Bookshop, which is by Satoshi Yagisawa. I hope I'm saying that right. And it's not a very big book. It's a quick read. And there is a second book, which I've already purchased as well. Okay, I'm very excited. But it follows a young woman who loses everything but finds herself. A tale of new beginnings, romantic and family relationships, and the comfort that can be found in books. So I'm trying to lean into this. I was talking about this on Nick and I have a podcast where we talk about books, and I feel like I was so much more eloquent about it. I've lost it, my book now, but anyways, yeah, there's just something about Japanese fiction that I find so whimsical and beautiful and charming. So my goal is to read some more of that this year. I would like to branch out. I have so many books on my bookshelves that I want to read that are not just romance. I feel like I kind of, again, put myself in a box, or people just assume, like all my friends assume, that all I read is romance. And I kind of, as an Aquarian, I tend to rebel against that. If people make assumptions about me, I'm like, no, I'm not like that. And yeah, so I want to branch out a little bit this year. I want to challenge myself and read more genres. I mean, I already did read more genres, but I feel like people always just assume that I'm a romance reader, and I love romance books. There's nothing wrong with romance books, but I do have goals to read some new stuff this year. Nick's book club is reading Mistborn by Sanderson. So maybe without even telling him, I'm just going to read the book. He really wants me to read 11/22/63 by Stephen King. I read Stephen King when I was younger. I read Pet Sematary. And I had read, what's the other one? Christine? I've seen a bunch of his movies. But last year we each picked a book for each other, and he picked Misery, and I read Misery, and it's not that I don't like the book and I didn't like the story. I just found it was very wordy, which I know is a Stephen King thing, but sometimes even like other authors who are extremely wordy with what they're saying, it can kind of take you out of the story, and that's what kept happening to me. But he wants me to read 11/22/63. He thinks that I'm really going to like it, but it's like 1,000 pages, so I feel like that's a really big commitment, but we'll see. Anyways, I'm hoping. I still have to set my reading goal. I like setting a reading goal. I used to keep a reading journal, and I'm waiting for my planners to come in the mail because I ordered some new planners to try out. And one of them is I want to keep track of what I'm reading. I have a Goodreads and I have a Storygraph, but I feel like being able to actually just write it down works so much better for me. I don't know if that's like the 90s kid in me is, I don't want to like move away from technology a little bit. So yeah, I just started this. I'm loving it. Hopefully I will be done it, I don't know, maybe even today. Maybe I'll just take today to like give myself time to read before I need to get back into the groove of working. But yeah, that is, I think, all of the big updates from me. Something else that you're going to start seeing a little bit more from me is I found a new creative outlet at the end of summer, and I absolutely love it, and I have found a way to make it work for my business, which is so exciting for me. But I learned how to bead fish, and they are so much fun for me to create. I absolutely love making them. These were my rainbow trout attempts for a yarn club that I have. So super, super fun. This is another one I made just because I'm doing show and tell right now. But yeah, the fish have brought me so much joy, and over on my Patreon, I am doing a monthly video series where I will record me making whatever the fish of the month is for the club. So last month I uploaded a video on making the rainbow trout, and the next fish is a zebra danio, which I think is going to be a challenging fish to make, but I'm very excited for the challenge. And I'm excited to see what this new year brings for beading and creativity. I've got a couple of really exciting things in the works that I'd like to accomplish, one of them in the next month, and then heading into the summer. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end that here. This was just supposed to be like an introductory back into this. I'm gonna try and figure out a better filming setup. My camera right now is on top of a toolbox with like 5 books stacked and then another box on top. So I need to actually probably get a tripod, and then I would really like to record out in the living room because it's just so much prettier than this. This is my office. I'm gonna end it here. Leave me a comment if there is one big knitting project that you would like to accomplish this year. For me, I would like to knit myself a all over colorwork sweater, and I want to steek it. That is my big goal. That was my goal for last year, and I could not find a pattern that I liked, but I think I found one. And maybe I'll share more about that in the next episode when I have yarn and everything ready for it. But yeah, let me know if there's one knitting project that you are most looking forward to this year. And I hope this is okay, and I will see you again in the next episode. Bye.